we're going to dive into a lot of ways that you can actually multiply your network marketing pennies. That's kind of the little tagline I'm calling it today, because a lot of times I think we make a little bit of money and we're like, oh, we're not where we want to be yet. But it's crazy what you can actually do to multiply that.
Welcome to the biggest network marketing mistakes podcast, where we share the jaw-dropping stories and lessons behind the top 1% network marketers' massive team building mistakes so you don't make them. Prepare to be blown away as we peel back the layers and expose the untold secrets and hacks deployed by the industry's finest. This podcast is designed specifically for faith-based network marketing leaders who refuse to sacrifice precious family time in pursuit of success. Ditch the burnout and embrace a life of freedom. I'm your host, Megan Miles, network marketing pro with over a decade of experience in the field, here to serve you. Let's get started.
Hello, you guys, and welcome to the biggest network marketing mistakes podcast. I'm so excited because I'm here with my friend who, I just have such a overwhelming sense of peace and joy, even to just be on with you today, because he is such a servant leader in the community that we're in. I've gotten to know him through some events that we've put on together with our dear friend Rob Sperry, and he's just like a man that's filled with so much love and joy, and he's super incredible. So I'm excited to be on because we're going to dive into a lot of ways that you can actually multiply your network marketing pennies. That's kind of the little tagline I'm calling it today, because a lot of times I think we make a little bit of money and we're like, oh, we're not where we want to be yet. But it's crazy what you can actually do to multiply that, especially biblically, even how you can even think that we're literally taught through scripture even to actually do that. So I'm going to turn it over to my friend. Oh, there's a little bit of background, Dave. I don't know if you have me on Bluetooth. By chance, is it connected to the car?
It is not. My car is off.
Okay. Well, we'll roll through it. You're going to hear, we are in both Dave and I today are in a just make it happen kind of day, because we have and but Dave is an awesome he network marketer. He's been in the field for a while. He helps families build wealth through real estate and a lot of other avenues. He is a dad of 6. I'm taking the tips from him. So Dave, why don't you come on, give us a little background, tell everybody about you.
Yeah, not only dad of 6, but dad of 6 with 1 wife. So that's an accomplishment right there. So this is a fun story. So I met my wife.
I just got that. I was like, wait, what? Okay, that is, yeah, especially in today's day and age. Okay, yeah. Hallelujah. All right, keep going.
Yeah, so I actually served a mission for my church and got home in 2008. And then I met my soon-to-be wife at a party that summer. And she was actually dating somebody else that had gone on a mission. So she wasn't too interested in me. I had to make her seem more interested than she actually was. So we dated on and off for 1.5 years. And then when she finally told me she wanted to get married, I said, go pray about it. And then she prayed about it, came back the next day and said, you know what, I think I need to go on a mission now. So she actually left on a mission to Budapest for 18 months. And then when she got home, I'm like, okay, I'm not waiting any longer. I made sure we got that ring on the finger. We got married back in 2011. And the rest is history. Now we've got 6 kids. We just had our 6th baby in April. So he's almost 7 months old now. So it's absolutely crazy. And what was really funny is my wife had done network marketing back when she was a teenager. So in our reception line, as we're there greeting people, we actually had one of her old mentors in network marketing come through the line, and they said, hey, we want to sit down with you guys. So they sat down with us that next week and got us started in our network marketing journey. So that's just a little bit about our background. And I love Megan's podcast. I'm probably like the epitome of what not to do in network marketing. So I think this will be a lot of fun.
Awesome. I love it. Well, such a great story. How beautiful way to go after it and just know hey, I'm going to put a ring on that. That's great.
I say it was the best sell that I ever made, was selling my wife that we should get married.
That's so great. I love it. So I want everybody to know like why you're in the car right now because I think it's a fantastic story. So you guys have real estate investments. So tell everybody what you're doing right now, actually.
Oh yeah, it's already been a busy morning. My wife woke up at 6 a.m. to take her friend to the hospital. She's having surgery. And then we just went to physical therapy for my wife and my boy. And now we're here at one of our Airbnbs. They're up cleaning while I hopped on this podcast. So that's just part of how life goes. You just roll with whatever's going on and make it happen.
I love it. I love it. So good. Well, hey guys, if you're tuning in, drop a 1 in the comments. I know most of this, we just started kind of going live with it, but most will be watching when we publish this episode on Apple and I don't know, all the other places that we have like 3 or 4 places that we stream. But when you said that, I chuckled because I remembered a day that I was running, we were going to Mexico and we had rented out, we had several Airbnbs, but we also rented out our primary home for a whole month to go down to Mexico. I know we shut off like our master room and I remember like Anthony was like 1.5 and I was like holding him and I remember like mopping myself out, to make sure to get the last kind of spots, and then you know the trick, mop yourself out of it so that you don't leave any last minute like foot marks or anything. And I told Dave right before we jumped on, I think a lot of people look to building wealth as this like perfect, like, oh, it's supposed to look so fancy and luxurious. And it's actually just being willing to make things happen no matter what, make sacrifices, be like, hey, we woke up at 5 this morning, but we got to go get this Airbnb cleaned out because we're also saving money on cleaners, and building those pennies, letting them compound. I mean, it's just so beautiful. I love that. And it's in those daily grind moments that the wealth is built. It's not in I'm going to wait till I have a couple $100,000 in the bank to invest,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Tell me more about that too. Cause I know that specifically, you help families start up with low investment costs even. But talk to us a little bit about how, I guess, investing in real estate started for you and how, it's been able to help transform you and just other people's lives too.
Yeah, great question. So really, when we found out that we didn't even have to own a property to make money off of it, that was like a totally game changer for us. So we do short-term rentals. A lot of people know those as Airbnbs. And we started back in 2019. We picked up our first unit with only $3,000 coming out of my pocket. That was to pay for the deposit, the first month's rent, and then we took a loan to furnish all of the stuff inside the unit. So yeah, a lot of people think, man, I need a couple $100,000 to go invest in real estate. That couldn't be further from the truth. It doesn't take a lot to get started in it. And that one has turned into, we've now done 17. We've got 6 operational right now over the last 5 years.
That's awesome. And how do you feel like just curious, because I haven't done, we ended up doing VRBO, Verbo, home away. They changed it every 2 minutes.
I know, they change it every day.
Like I see a new ad. I'm like, I went to one of the conferences when they're like, it's not VRBO, it's Verbo.
It's Verbo, yeah.
And they had me speak, actually. I was a premier partner, and it's funny because I had no experience. Like I learned how to do this stuff just like, I don't know, just through ideas and watching other people. But anyways, the reason I share that is, what does that look like for you guys right now? Have you noticed a little bit of a dip in some of like the occupancy rates? Just curious.
Yeah, there absolutely has been over the last probably 18 months. And I think part of it's with the economy. People were unsure what was going to happen with election, whatever. Interest rates have gone through the roof. So people's spending power has gone dramatically down. So usually first things that go is, okay, instead of doing a vacation, now we're doing a staycation a little bit closer to home. So yeah, we've definitely seen that impact. And that's actually why we used to hire out all of our cleaning, all of our linens was done by our cleaners. Now we've taken a lot of that back just to help save money as we're continuing to build. So sometimes, yeah, stuff doesn't go the way that you want, but you got to dig even deeper and figure out, okay, we don't want to lose this business. So how can we double down and make it even better in the long run?
Yeah. I love that. I love that vulnerability too. And I love that right now we're seeing that a lot just in the industry in general.
Mm-hmm.
People, like, if you want to survive right now in the field, you have to double down on your business because people aren't buying as much. They're not. And people could say someone could come into this business who maybe came in during COVID, you know, you're like, this business sucks. It's not working. No, it does. But every business has its ebbs and flows.
Totally.
So I guess, how would you say as a business owner, you really prepare for those ebbs and flows, knowing that those peaks are great, but they're not here to always like stay, all the time.
Yeah, that's a great point. And there's a really good podcast that Ed Milet put out almost this time a year ago where he talks about building in the off season. Because most people, especially around the holidays, they take, I'm getting ready for Thanksgiving, so I'm going to take this next week off. And then, oh man, Christmas is around the corner, so I'm going to slow down and spend more time with the family. But he says, no, when people start slowing down, that's when you really need to dig deep and work even harder in your business. Because if you can push in that off season, it's going to lead to the harvest when things are really good. And I've noticed that even in real estate, that if you can keep that even keel going into it, we know like all my units are in Utah, so we know ski season's really, really good. And then the fall and spring kind of dip down. So if you know that going in, even getting into network marketing, like there's busier seasons and then there's slower seasons. Usually the winter time gets a little slower because people just stop working their business. So if you can do the opposite of what most people are doing and say, you know what, most people aren't working their network marketing business right now, so let's dig in, and we have a lot more people to go out and talk to because nobody's talking to them right now.
Exactly. So good. I love that you bring up too the analogy of winter, right? Because it's like right now you're going through it. The people who stay consistent and double down, like you said, right now, I mean, we will see massive results from those people, 12 months from now, 6 months from now, it's going to be crazy. The people that give up, they're going to continue to decline. So just because you might be declining or feeling like, oh, I'm not where I was, you got to stay steady,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you look at the stock market too, it's not like this,
Yeah.
it's like this. But then slowly over time it goes up. And so I have to remind myself that even of it sometimes of like, okay, but like sometimes like, wow, I'm not where I want to be, but wow, I'm so much further than I was 12 years ago.
Yeah. No, I love that, Megan, because it's so easy to do, especially when we get on the scroll patrol and we're like, oh man, seeing all these influencers traveling the world, and you're like, I'm stuck here, pregnant, throwing up all the time. Like, what's wrong with my life?
Oh my God.
It's so easy to fall victim to that.
Yeah, the struggle is real. When I got pregnant, I totally thought, I'm going to go on the biggest run of my life. I have like 8.5 months or whatever it was, 8 months to go hard before this baby comes. And I have worked less in the last, it's been 7 months, I guess now. We have about 5 weeks ago than I have in such a long time. However, that really hasn't impacted me. It doesn't mean I haven't worked.
Yeah.
But it hasn't impacted me. It hasn't helped me totally catapult. And we did actually have a little bit of a big run and a huge surge and things, but it hasn't impacted me because all of the works that I've done in the past, to be able to stay home and just rest and puke. So, so is your wife involved in some of the day-to-day other than like helping with the Airbnb's business activity, or do you find that mainly that's kind of that hat you wear and she's kind of more focused on home with the kids and everything like that, or do you guys share some of those? Just curious.
Yeah, her niche is definitely home with the kids. All of our kids, they do school from home, so that takes a lot of her time. Right now they all have teachers though, but they all do school from home. So she focuses on the kids, on the cleaning the rentals, and I really focus on building the business.
That's
on
awesome.
that side. So I mean, you have to work as a couple and say what are our best qualities and traits, but do it together. And if you have an unsupportive spouse, because I know a lot of us in network marketing, we're like, man, I feel like I'm doing this by myself because my spouse, my significant other, they're just not supportive of it. Then you have to really take a look at your dreams, because your dreams are going to be different than their dreams, and say, what am I doing to go out and accomplish those dreams, even if they're holding me back?
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely true. Um, so tell us a little bit about, I guess, we're on the biggest mistakes, biggest network marketing mistakes. What's Dave's ultimate mistake in network marketing? Like, if you could go back and change one thing, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, where to even start? Biggest mistakes is honestly when I got started, I didn't know what I was doing, and I was so shy. I did not like talking to people that I didn't already know. And when I started network marketing, I mean, I knew it was a great avenue. I've seen people do it, but I was so terrified to talk to my warm market that I'm like, I'm going to build this business and crush it on cold market. And even though everybody in my company is saying the fastest way to build wealth in this business is through warm market, I'm like, no. I'm not talking to my warm market. I'm just focusing cold market. So I spent literally years just trying to build this business cold market. And if I could go back and talk to my past self, I'd say, you know what? Forget about everyone else. Don't let that rejection affect you, because I love this quote by Jamie Kern-Lima. She said, rejection is just God's protection. So when somebody's rejecting you, it could be God protecting you from something that may have ended up happening. And that's the reason that they told you no. But when I got started, I took that rejection so personally, and it really got me down for a couple weeks to even months sometimes. And I'm like, it's like pushing up that snowball up the hill as you're building this business. And then somebody tells you no, and you let all that momentum off. That snowball doesn't go back to where you originally started, because now it's building steam coming back down the hill. So now it's gone like a half mile or a couple miles past where you started. Now it takes even longer to get it back up to where it was. So like Megan, like you were saying, if you can just be consistent at doing those daily activities, don't worry about the rejection. Rejection is just part of the game. In fact, the more rejection you have, the greater chances you have of success in network marketing. Same with real estate, same with any industry.
Yeah, anything. Exactly. That's so good. I needed to hear that right now. Actually, we're in the process of buying a Alexis, and the lady hasn't called me back. We basically agreed to give her what she asked, and I'm this morning like, oh, I called her and she didn't answer. I feel so rejected, and I like have my heart on this car. But maybe that's just God's protection, right? Of like,
Yeah.
but um, so, but that's another piece too. I wanted to bring up just about building wealth. You know, I think a lot of people get into this business and like, okay, I'm making like my lifestyle bonus. I'm going to go finance a car, right? Or do things like that. And, you know, really, you've got to prepare for those winter seasons, right? Like, sure, you may be making that right now, but you don't know what can happen, right? Nothing's guaranteed. And so making decisions, wise decisions with finances, I haven't financed a car in 12 years, I think. And I recently though did go to a dealership and buy a Volvo. And it's so crazy what happened, because I'm driving this Volvo and I kept looking at like, oh, I should have gotten a Lexus. I should have gotten a Lexus. And so ended up there's a huge piston issue. They're buying the car back from me.
Oh, wow.
It's like so crazy that they're actually doing that. And so now I have the opportunity to say, hey, I could go rebuy a car with the money they're going to give me, the same amount. But I've actually, we'll see what happens, found a car for about a quarter of the price to be able to pocket and save the rest. It's like, why not if it's a great vehicle, right? But what I guess it's the kind of the same thing like you're saying right now. Like sometimes we just make decisions of like, okay, we're gonna, instead of outsourcing this during the season, we're going to, double down, and that's what this looks like. That's a sacrifice that we're going to do right now. We're going to run around town errands and go do this rental cleaning right now, because it's going to secure our future even more, even though you can afford not to, right? Or things like that. It's making those like sacrificial decisions. So I want to ask you too, like, what does, I guess, maybe scripture or biblically, what does that look like for you? Or what are other ways that, you've just found ways to really just make sacrifices in your life to continue to build wealth with the income that, you bring in from your business?
Yeah.
Loaded question.
No, it's okay. One of my favorite scriptures is in the New Testament. I believe it's Matthew 19:26. Don't quote me on that, but it says, with God, all things are possible. And I also read a really, really good book by Russell M. Nelson that is called Accomplishing the Impossible. And the gist of the book, at least that I took out of it, is he says that if you think about it, if God can help Moses part the Red Sea and take all the children of Israel across on dry land, why can't he help you do the impossible in your own business, in your own life? And that really hit me, because before I was like, oh, success is just for like the other people. Like, I've tried this, it's taken longer than I want. And I mean, you and I both love Rob Sperry. He says anything worth doing takes longer than we think it's going to take.
Yeah.
Even the impossible, it takes longer than it's going to take. But that doesn't mean that we give up on those dreams that we have. I know, especially like COVID, it seemed like, oh my gosh, the whole world just shut down. The whole world went to crap.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of things back then, they seemed impossible, especially in network marketing, unless you were just in an industry that took off during COVID. Most of us, like real estate, people didn't want to talk real estate in COVID because they're like, I don't have any money. We're all isolated. And for me, accomplishing the impossible, like you mentioned, buying a car, like we make this extra money in our business. So instead of using that cash to go buy that lifestyle that we want, let's use that same amount of cash, go pick up a rental or maybe 2 rental properties to pay for that vehicle. And then not only do you get that vehicle you want, you also get that cash flow and that wealth accumulation that you can build up over time. Because I love network marketing. It's a great business, but I know the way to true wealth is through cash flowing rental properties, cash flowing real estate. So if we can build both, I mean, that's what's awesome about network marketing. We have a great vehicle to provide that income to generate the lifestyle that we want. But we also have to look for the future. Like, do I want to build a lifestyle just for me? Or do I really want to build a legacy that I can pass down? Do I want all that money to be gone when I'm dead? Or do I want that money to outlive me and my kids when we're gone?
Yeah, totally. Exactly. Using network marketing as a vehicle to fuel, your other investments. It's not, network marketing isn't the end game. And what I mean by that is that, like, you need to have a stop to network marketing, right? I'll always be in network marketing, but it's not the end game. It's to fuel your end game. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. I've seen a lot of people, for my first company, especially, they were out making tons and tons of money. I remember watching them from, they were on stage, and, fast forward today, 10 to 12 years later, they're not doing so well. They were out buying Range Rovers and houses in Miami, and, and I get it. I don't blame them. Like, those things, I'm not to say if I made that amount, at that time too, I might not have also, but, I think we get really excited about the flashy and the lifestyle. Like, okay, I can have it now, rather than really investing and sacrificing, a little bit to be able to have so much more later, and create such a bigger even harvest. So.
Yeah, well, and it almost seems like our generation feels like we're an entitled generation where we have to have it now. It's like that ornery little kid that's like, mommy, now. I want it now. But we're not thinking about the long game. We're not thinking about the future, because I've seen the same thing. I've seen so many people in my industry that get in, they crush it, they make a ton of money, but 5 years later, they're completely broke and out of the game. So I'd rather make the money and build smart than have an awesome run and then be out of the game forever.
Yeah, exactly. And so as a dad of 6, I mean, I know you guys are really focused on, like, wearing your hats and things like that, but how do you, I guess, balance that, making time with the kids? And I mean, 6 kids, I just still can't even, I mean, We're about to
You're,
have,
you're just getting started, Megan.
my gosh, I'm like 6 kids. Like you guys wouldn't even fit in my car. And I have a third row. It's only
Yeah,
7
that's
though. It's
why
not.
we're in a Suburban.
Oh my gosh, you have to have a Suburban, like, or I when I was in Texas, I had a lot. There were a lot of families that would come in to wash their van, and so they'd have like these big vans, and they just like 9 kids would come out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like daycare? No, these are all our kids. But so I guess just how do you balance life with 6 kids?
Oh, man. Well, first of all, I had to max it out at 6 kids because I could not drive those 15-passenger vans. That's what my parents had growing up. And those things are like big buses or even the minivans. I'm like, I will not be a minivan dad. So Suburban or bus. So we maxed out our capacity and now we're done having kids. But honestly, I think balance is a myth in life. We have to focus on priorities. So we have to, and I'm not great at this. I'm always getting better at this, but we have to really focus and calendar out our time when we're going to have time with our families, when we're going to have time for our business, the non-negotiable time to build our business, and the non-negotiable time to spend time with our family. And one of the dreams that my wife and I have is in the future when our kids are all married is being able to go on like a paid for trip by mom and dad that we pay for all of our kids to come with us. But that takes a lot of money. And so doing these things now, it helps us. But then just like spending that extra time one-on-one with your kids when you get a chance. So when my oldest, he just turned 12, and he loves football. He's an avid BYU fan. So for his birthday, I said, well, what game do you want to go see? Let's pick a game. We already have season tickets for the home games, but he chose to go to the Baylor games. So that was honestly the first time that it was just him and I one-on-one for 48 hours. And we absolutely loved it. We had so much fun, but we went and had fun. But then I told him, okay, if we're going to Baylor, we're also going to do some marketing on the side. So we went to the football game. We went and did some other things. And then I had him putting up bandit roadside signs in Dallas, Texas. We did it from like 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night. But I'm like, we got to show them how to go out and build things. So when they're my age, they're not living in my basement. So I think as a dad of 6, you just got to show them that anything in this world's possible. You got to go out and get it. But if they don't see me as their father being willing to go out and do it, then I'm just a hypocrite. So I think about that a lot, that my kids are pushing me to go further, because if they just see me sitting on the couch on my phone all the time, what are they going to think of me when they get older? Oh, dad was always just home on his phone. He never took time to be with us.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I know that you have recently been doing a lot of like self-exploration with learning about, your personality types and other people's, growing your business by learning what motivates you and more through kind of this drive assessment that you've told me about before. And I know you kind of have a free gift for everybody. So tell us a little bit about how, I guess, what that drive assessment is, and what really, learning that what motivates you has continued to help, fostering the relationships as a dad, as a business partner, as a husband, and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. I'm so glad you brought that up. I absolutely love the drive system. Most of you probably don't even know what that is. So think about, some of you may have read the 5 love languages. So think about the love languages, but we all have different buying languages. We all have different personalities. And so the creator of Drive, his name's Woody Woodward. Go follow him on social media. He's a freaking rock star. But I first met Woody 10 years ago, started coaching with him. And he's the one that really helped me get out of my shell, because I understood what made me tick. But then he said, okay, once you understand your own drive type, drive's an acronym for the different personalities. Now I want to show you how to talk to the other people based off of what makes them feel important. Because we naturally, just based off of the way that we speak, we offend the 80% of the rest of the population that doesn't have our same personality. And so if we're able to, and this is great as we're building a business, if we're able to understand what makes them feel important, and we can speak to them based off of that, because they don't care what we've done, they care what it can do for them. So if you can talk to them based off of what makes them feel important, some people, they just want to go out and have a better lifestyle. Some people, they just want to build more meaningful relationships. Other people are like, I'm not getting recognized at my job. I want to have more recognition for the things that I do. Some people are like, I was taught growing up, go to school, get good grades to get a good job. That system's not working. So I need to find a system where I can actually build wealth. And then some people are like, you know what? I just want the proof that it works. So once we understand that, we can have a lot more success in our business. So yeah, if you guys want, you can take a free assessment. It's great. It'll send you your own personalized assessment, tell you what your own superpowers, kryptonite are. It's absolutely awesome.
I love it. Cool. Well, we'll make sure to drop that in the comments and get that published with the episode too. I'm such a fan of understanding what drives you. Last week, my friend Kimberly came on and talked about the Enneagram. I mean, there's so many different ways. I kind of plug into all. I've done, the DISC assessment, so many different ones, but I think it's so important because it's also teaches us just how to function, how to like take care of ourselves too, and how to operate. And working with my son now too, who he was diagnosed ADHD, go figure, a few weeks ago. And as they're asking the questions, I'm like, yeah, that's me. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm ADHD. The more we learn about ourselves, the more we can find ways to operate more effectively, right, and efficiently, and get more done, and be more productive and have a more fruitful life. So this has been really great. I love it. My hope that is for everyone that has watched and tuned in is that, even if you're making $50 a month in your business, how are you being a good steward and putting that forth? Maybe it's adding extra to your Roth IRA. Maybe you're making $500 a month. Are you actually using that to fuel a Roth IRA and maybe other investments and real estate and things like that? Like, what are you doing to actually fuel your future rather than just taking, I call it pennies, because sometimes I think people are in this business, they're like, I only made $500 this month in my business. I'm like, do you understand what $500 of passive revenue means? Like, do you understand what that is? Like, that is huge.
It is. It's huge.
Build that in some nooks and crannies with doing some social media posts or doing a couple quick referral connections, whatever, however you build. Like, it is so powerful. But a lot of people don't use because they're so focused on one day when I get to, 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures, I'll do this, rather than just being a good steward with what you have, right?
Yeah.
God can bless you with more. But yeah, tell me what you have to share with that, and just what final thoughts you'd like to share with our audience today too.
Yeah, well, like you mentioned, the Enneagram, the DISC assessment, they're all awesome assessments. What I love about the Drive assessment is it just takes it to another level. Awesome. Where you can learn how to go internal versus living externally. And that is huge, especially in the mental health challenges that people are having, all of the different just crap that we have to go through in life. Once you can learn how to go internal, life gets a whole lot better. And then one other quick tip, just as a building wealth strategy from what I've seen in network marketing, talking with other network marketers, is that a lot of them, even if they're making just that extra $500 a month, or they're making a couple thousand a month, a lot of them are set up with taxes completely wrong. So get good tax professionals. Most people that I meet, they're still LLCs when they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars and they're paying a ton of money in taxes. So another great tip on building wealth is make sure you're maximizing those tax write-offs, because that's actually how we picked up a couple rental properties, is just from our tax refunds on the stuff that we were saving through our business.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, obviously we're not legal or tax advisors, but just curious. So what do you encourage people to do? S Corps, or what's kind of your tip? What do you encourage?
Yeah, I mean, and definitely, like Megan says, talk to a legal or tax professional. But I would say, at least my attorney tells me, when you're making about $40,000 net profit a year, that's when you should be converting into an S Corp, because it's going to save you a lot in the self-employment tax and other strategies that you don't get when you're just an LLC or sole prop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, my friends. Well, we hope that you enjoyed today's episode. Dave, thank you for making time during your busy day today, just doing a make it happen, being a make it happen type of guy. You always are. I can't wait to see you I'll see you in April, right?
Yes.
Event. I'm excited about that. Dave and I, we like run the show in the background. We're like, hey, slides, AV. I had no idea how to do any of that. Thanks to people like Dave and other people, we've just been able to put on some events.
Wrangle in with us.
Yeah. So, but yeah, because this time I'll have a baby. That'll be interesting. But yeah, I'm excited to see you, my friend. Thank you for taking time today. And you guys have a wonderful day. We'll drop that drive assessment down in the comments. Grab that, take that, connect, follow Dave on socials. He is so awesome. If there's anything you need, I'm sure he's happy to help. So, all right. Bye, everybody.
Hey, I hope you got massive value from today's podcast. If you did, please leave us a review of what you loved. I read every single comment and review. And hey, make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you get notified when we drop new interviews so you can stay up to date on all the ninja hacks to building a 7-figure network marketing business. Hey, by the way, I have a free gift for you. It's a free training made just for you to help you scale your business. You can grab it below in the comments and the show notes. But in exchange, could you do me just one favor? Share this episode with someone that you think could get the same value of it that you did, and help me spread the word to help more network marketers make less mistakes. See you on the next episode of the biggest network marketing mistakes podcast.